Ready? All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have what looks to be a really long meeting, but it's just a lot of housekeeping. So I am going to turn it over to Business Manager Veek.
Thank you. All right. Mark Murrin, at a regular meeting of the school board held on Monday, May 26th, the board declared you were a duly elected member of the school board of Sioux Falls School District 49-5. Section 13.8.14 of the South Dakota law provides that newly elected members of the school board shall qualify and assume their office at the annual meeting of the school board in July by taking and subscribing to an oath or affirmation to support the laws and Constitution of the United States and the state of South Dakota, and to faithfully perform the duties of school board membership. At this time, as business manager of the district, it is my pleasant duty to administer the oath. So I would have you recite the oath.
I, Mark Murrin, having been elected to the office of member of the school board of Sioux Falls School District 49-5, a little cold, of Minnehaha County and Lincoln County of South Dakota, do solemnly swear I will support the laws of the Constitution of the United States and the state of South Dakota. I will faithfully, impartially perform the duties of school board membership.
Thank you. We've got 2 copies of the signed oath. I've signed both of them. I'd have you sign both. One we'll keep in the business office and the other is for you, your files. Thank you. Oops, one for you. This is going to sound a little familiar. Gail Swenson, at a regular meeting of the school board held on Monday, May 26, 2024, the school board declared you were a duly elected member of the school board of Sioux Falls School District 49-5. Section 13.8.14 of South Dakota law provides that newly elected members of the school board shall qualify and assume their office at the annual meeting of the school board in July by taking and subscribing to an oath or affirmation to support the laws and Constitution of the United States and the state of South Dakota, and to faithfully perform the duties of the school board membership. At this time, it is my pleasant duty to administer this oath. Please go ahead. Oops.
I, Gail Swenson, having been elected to the office of member of the school board of the Sioux Falls School District 49-5 of Minnehaha County and Lincoln County, South Dakota, do solemnly swear that I will support the laws and Constitution of the United States and the state of South Dakota, and that I will faithfully and impartially perform the duties of school board membership.
Thank you, and I have 2 copies here as well. One for your files, and then one for the business office files. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Congratulations to both of you and welcome, Gail. We're glad to have you. I think you continue, correct?
No, you do.
Can I get a motion and a second for approval of the June payroll and claims to vendors for A and B, please?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Those are approved. Now you assume.
Yes. Yeah, now is the time for us to organize the board for the next school fiscal year. So I will just be taking over for one action, and what I need is I'll be entertaining nominations for school board president.
I nominate Carly Ryder for president.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll vote on Carly Ryder for president of the board. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thanks, Todd.
We'll need it.
Thank you, guys. And now we will continue with election of vice president of the school board. So can I get any nominations for vice president?
I'd like to nominate Dawn Marie Johnson for vice president.
Any other nominations? No? All right, hearing none. Can I get a roll call, not a roll call, a vote for vice president? So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes. Congratulations. All right. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting held on June 24th?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those are approved. We have two people wishing to address the board on non-agenda items. So we will start with Maria. If you could just come to the podium, tell us your name and address, and then you'll have 5 minutes. And Dawn Marie will be your timekeeper and kind of keep you on track if you need it.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Maria Agrawal. My address was logged into public record when I signed up to speak at this meeting. I am here tonight representing the Minnehaha County chapters of Moms for Liberty. We are moms, dads, extended family members, and friends who are dedicated to fighting for the survival of America by unifying, educating, and empowering parents to defend their parental rights at all levels of government. Firstly, we'd like to thank Kate Sarenbetz for her service to the Sioux Falls District and its families, and we wish her well in the future. We also congratulate Mark Murren and Gail Swenson on their election to the school board, and we wish them well in their tenure. During the recent school board campaign, each candidate was offered the chance to sign the Moms for Liberty Parent Pledge for candidates and elected officials. The pledge reads as follows. I pledge to honor the fundamental rights of parents, including, but not limited to, the right to direct the education, medical care, and moral upbringing of their children. I pledge to advance policies that strengthen parental involvement in decision-making, increase transparency, defend against government overreach, and secure parental rights at all levels of government. We have none of the 5 current publicly elected members of the Sioux Falls School Board on record as having signed this pledge to parents. With the upcoming school year just around the corner, this is a great opportunity to let district parents know that, in the work you've been elected to do, you will strive to honor their parental rights. Therefore, we invite each of you individually, Carly, Nan, Dawn Marie, Mark, and Gail, to sign the Moms for Liberty Parent Pledge for elected officials. This is not a contract with or endorsement by Moms for Liberty. It is simply a nonpartisan promise to every parent and guardian of every child in the Sioux Falls School District. More information can be found at momsforliberty.org. I will leave each of you a copy of the pledge in an addressed, stamped envelope for your convenience, along with our email address should you wish to reach out for any reason. We look forward to hearing back from you ahead of the 2024-25 school year, and we will follow up at the first September board meeting. Thank you, and have a great rest of your summer.
Thank you very much.
Can I approach?
Yeah, if you want to just set them down here, we can pass them down. Thank you. Next, we have Chad Bishop. Chad, if you would stop up at the podium and tell us your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Chad Bishop, and I live at 7405 South Valencia Drive here in Sioux Falls. I would like to take this opportunity to once again request that you make both George Orwell's 1984 and Animal Farm required reading across the district for all juniors and seniors. I have done this multiple times before, but it seems especially relevant this week. I'm here to speak on the importance of our social studies curriculum and the necessity of including the study of propaganda within it. Social studies is crucial in shaping informed citizens capable of critical thinking. It provides students with the knowledge and skills to understand and engage with the world around them. However, in today's information-saturated society, it's more important than ever to equip our students with the ability to discern truth from manipulation. As someone with a background in telecommunications, I understand the importance of filtering out noise to improve clarity and quality of the signal. In the context of education, teaching students about propaganda acts as a critical filter, helping them to identify and focus on accurate and reliable information amidst the overwhelming noise. Propaganda is not just a relic of the past, but a present and pervasive element of our lives. From advertisements and news media to political messaging and social media, propaganda influences our thoughts and behaviors in subtle and overt ways. By teaching students about the techniques and purposes of propaganda, we arm them with the tools to critically analyze information they encounter daily. I previously testified at the hearing held by the Board of Education on the social studies curriculum standards accepted by the state. During that hearing, I advocated for including the portion of the previous standards specific to the study of propaganda to ensure its inclusion in the curriculum. Unfortunately, I was unsuccessful in that endeavor. Nevertheless, I believe it is crucial to revisit the topic and convince you that it should be included, even if not explicitly required. Including the study of propaganda in the new curriculum would help students develop essential skills, critical thinking. They learn to question and evaluate the sources and intentions behind the information. Media literacy. They become adept at identifying bias and misinformation. Historical perspective. They understand how propaganda has been used throughout history to shape public opinion and policy. In Orwell's essay, Politics and the English Language, he wrote, "Political language, and with variations this is true of all political parties from conservatives to anarchists, is designed to make lies sound truthful and murder respectable, and to give an appearance of solidity to pure wind. As educators, board members, and parents, it is our responsibility to ensure that the students can see through such language and think independently." Orwell also wrote in 1984, "The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command." What are the consequences of a population who does not question the power of the party? Just last week, during the presidential debate, we can no longer reject the evidence of our own eyes and ears, though some in the party insist that we must. A carefully crafted propaganda campaign run by the White House, the DNC, presumably others, assured the American public in general, and Democratic primary voters specifically, that our current president is sharp as a tack. No primary challenges, no primary debates. If the president is not the party's nominee and is selected in a smoke-filled room at the convention, the entirety of the Democratic primary electorate will have been disenfranchised. If they will lie about this, what else are they lying about? There are other impacts even more important than elections, for instance, war. Understanding President Eisenhower's military-industrial complex speech is crucial for our students as it highlights the profound impact of propaganda on shaping public opinion and policy. Eisenhower warned of the potential dangers posed by the military-industrial complex, emphasizing how its influence could overshadow the limited democratic processes of our republic and lead to unnecessary conflicts driven by economic interests rather than national security. Eisenhower's speech serves as a historical example of how powerful entities can manipulate narratives to serve interests. By understanding this, students can better recognize similar tactics in contemporary society. An example, last October, when arguing on CNN for funding to keep the Ukrainian war going, our own Dusty Johnson said, "I don't know when Republicans quit being interested in killing communists." Do you think he knows communism in Russia fell along with the Soviet Union over 30 years ago? That none of the kids dying in Ukraine, whether Ukrainian or Russian, grew up under communism? If he did know, what do we call this? By intentionally incorporating the study of propaganda into the social studies curriculum, we prepare our students not just to be passive consumers of information, but active, thoughtful participants in our constitutional federal republic. I urge the board to consider this important addition to our curriculum, ensuring our students are well equipped to navigate the challenge and challenge the complexities of the modern world. I'm happy to contribute to this curriculum if there is an opportunity to do so. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The agenda is approved. We have 3 conflicts of interest to address this evening. Just for FYI, if people are not aware of conflicts of interest, this is a state law, correct, Todd?
Yes.
Where we have to declare if we have any sort of interest that may sway our opinion or any influence we may have in contracts or business of the school district. And so many times it's as basic as my spouse also works in the school district, or I work at Sanford, or I work whatever. So we have to declare those every single year as a state, or as a state law. So today we have several administrators, myself, and Board Member Murren who have those on there. So does anybody have any questions after reviewing those? No? Okay. Can I get a motion and a second to approve and acknowledge those conflicts of interest?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Those are approved. Next, we have 11A through F for the consent agenda. Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. That is approved. And for the supplemental consent agenda, approval of claims to Sanford Health. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. That motion passes with 1 abstention from myself. And we move on to the reports of the superintendent.
We have 3 things on for tonight, and so I'll line all 3 of those up for us, and then people will come up to conduct those. The first is a big one, the approval of the fiscal year 25 budget and our certification of levies to our county auditors. Second, we have a federal consolidated application report from our newly minted Associate Superintendent, Dr. Kirk Zeke. And then finally, Becky Dorman will offer a public hearing for us as we continue to have some application waivers with the state. So with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Veek.
Thank you. We started this process in November when you approved the budget timelines and guidelines. We had 19 committees with around 150 people, from teachers, administrators, classified staff, community members, put together the budget packets. They were reviewed on March 14th by a committee of a smaller, obviously, committee of that group of that put together the budgets. And then the recommendations were formed. The board held 2 work sessions on March 27th and April 3rd, and then tentatively approved the budget April 8th. And now we're getting the final approval tonight. In this budget, the general, we had a reduction in revenues due to the year that just ended. The fiscal year that just ended was basically the end of our run of COVID funds. You get a little bit of a spending period in 3 months out beyond that, but basically the COVID dollars are gone now. So obviously it's being greatly affected by the loss of those revenues. As far as the state aid formula, it's increasing by 4% next year. Because over 80% of our general fund budgets are salaries and benefits, and nearly 90% of district discretionary revenues are derived from the state aid formula. Salaries can only go up really over time, what state aid goes up. And the legislature recognized that year, and they passed a bill which we supported, which basically says if we give you a 4% increase, your average teacher salaries need to go up 4%. I mean, it's over a period of time and whatnot, but basically does that. And we said that's great because school districts across the state have beat that number consistently over a large period of time. And so our budget is greatly affected by that, and following that, and for the 4th year in a row, the board is committed to significantly increasing the starting teacher salaries. We were under $38,000 just 4 years ago. Now we're up to over $52,000. And the total increase for teachers is about 5.2% next year. The 5-year plan does decrease the fund balance by $7.1 million in the first year due to that loss of COVID funding. We've got a plan to ease out of that over a 4-year period. So we're working on that, but this first year is down 7.1%. The projected fund balance in FY28 is 6%, and in FY29, after a low of 5.3, after a low in 2028, the number will be back to 6%. So the plan includes capital outlay transfers to the general fund of $6.35 million beginning in FY26 and efficiencies of 1.75% in FY26 and 27. The one change in the budget has to do with, since the tentative budget was with IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, in the special ed budget, we're swapping in $1 million of IDA money for state aid, which was inadvertently budgeted as a revenue. Instead, it'll be the IDA funds. So that's the one change since you last looked at the budget officially. In summary, the total budget is total tax supported budget, that's general ed, sped, capital outlay, and bond redemption, is $337.8 million. For the district's homeowners, the school levy is projected to decrease by 7 cents. In 2025, the average school property tax increase for a typical house in the Sioux Falls School District is expected to be 0.7% next year, and approximately 2.6% per year over the last 25 years. So what we have here is kind of a brief summary of all the budgets we have to approve. And then finally, part of that approval is the revenue side, which is our tax requests, where we will send in the tax requests to the county auditors in Lincoln and Minnehaha County. So if there's any questions, I'd stand by for those. But in the end, we'd like you to adopt the FY25 school district budget and certify the levies to the county auditors as presented. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions or comments? No? Okay. I appreciate the work that the entire team has done on this. I know we've said a few different times that now that the COVID money is gone, we kind of saw what it would be like if we actually had a fully funded education system when they poured millions of dollars into it. And so now we are left with trying to decide what we need to keep, what was really working well, and what we need to kind of forego until the budgets change again. So hard decisions were made, and hard decisions will continue to have to be made over the next couple of years as well. So thank you for the care that went into coming up with this budget and helping us to stay on track and with all the other projects that we have going on as well. So,
Thank you.
can I get a motion and a second to adopt the FY25 budget and certification of levies to the county auditors, please?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The budget is approved. Thank you. Welcome to your first meeting in your new role.
Presenting on my old role.
Oh, shoot. I jumped the gun. My bad.
Well, I'm happy to be here this evening, or this afternoon, I guess. And Gail, welcome. Good to see you here tonight. And I'm here to present the Federal Consolidated Application Report, which is required by the federal government for districts to explain how they're going to use their federal grant allocations. I'll talk about Title I, Part A, Title I, Part D, Title II, Part A, and Title IV. I'd like to begin with the last 3 years, including this year, of our allocations. We had that little thing in the federal government with the continuing resolutions, and that really delayed our allocation coming until just about 3 or 4 weeks ago, which made it difficult because then the state wasn't able to release in grants management my ability to write these grants. So we had to do that quite quickly, and everything was ready, and it did get submitted on time before July 1st. But you can see in Title I Part A, we've gone up slightly over last year to $6.9 million. And Title I Part D, $250,000. Title II Part A, $1.5 million. And then rounding off with Title IV, just about $800,000, which overall is about a 5% increase over last year. I do check in with the state right around January to say, what's your prediction? And they told me based upon the census numbers that we would be down a little bit. But we were up a little bit, so it's just that. Let's get into it. Title I Part A. This is all about providing equity for our schools of poverty and those neighborhoods that serve families who come from poverty. And unlike equality, where everybody gets the same thing, equity is where you get what you need. And here you can see our observer on the right, on the left-hand picture with the purple shirt. He's not able to participate and cheer for his favorite ball club because everybody got what they needed. But in equity, he received a second box, and now he's able to cheer on, I don't know, maybe the Red Sox, maybe the Canaries. Well, we get these Title I funds to close those achievement gaps in the schools. And talking about the schools, here are our 10 title schools for next year. In order to qualify to be a title school, you have to have a minimum of 35% poverty. And we figure that out with free or reduced lunch forms. Now, if you're over 75% poverty, then you must be a title school and receive those funds. So we start with, in the left-hand column, we go from the Elementary Immersion Center and Hawthorne Elementary, our highest poverty schools, all the way down the left-hand column, then move over to the right with LBA, and we finish off with Annie Sullivan at the lowest poverty rate of our Title I schools. What do we use the funds for? We use them for class size reduction teachers to bring that 23.4 down to about 18 in kindergarten and first grades, so we can get more support for our youngest learners. Instructional coaches we fund with Title I. We also use Title II funds to hire and have instructional coaches serve our teachers. They primarily work with our first-year teachers, but also they work with veteran teachers on cycles to help them improve instruction. We hire SIPS reading teachers in the first grade. As you might remember, we had a reduction due to ESSER funds in second grade SIPS teachers. We still retain some of those, but we still have our reading teachers in first grade in our title schools. We hire success coordinators, which are like counselors. They don't do guidance lessons in the classroom, but they do support our at-risk students who maybe are having a hard time with friend groups or behaviors. We hire social workers, English learner teachers, and then we have Tier 2 teachers and behavior facilitators. The Tier 2 teachers work on student behaviors, small group pullout, and then the behavior facilitators then are that bridge from that pullout skills instruction for behavior into the classroom. All title schools write school improvement plans, and with that, their professional development funds come from this fund. They have family engagement activities, reading, math nights, cultural nights, back to school nights. We hire homeless liaisons and provide transportation for students who may be moving around town so we can maintain a consistent school for them. We have 217 preschool spots, which is braided in with Head Start, migrant, and special ed funds. And then we have equitable services for those students who are living in our neighborhoods of poverty and also need support and have gaps in their learning. So they have funds that they utilize there. Moving on to Title I Part D with our neglected and delinquent grant. The sole purpose of this is to help provide students who are at risk or maybe going to drop out to help them transition back into the school. We have a reading teacher at Summit Oaks Residential. We have a half-time math teacher at the Juvenile Detention Center. She also doubles as the transition coordinator to help those students return to the classroom and the regular traditional school. And we have a dropout prevention success coordinator at the high school. And each high school has one of those, just we fund one with Title I. at Washington. Moving on to professional development, Title IIA is all about ensuring that we have state-certified teachers, creating an engaging classroom environment for every student. We fund the professional development requests for those non-title schools with Title II funds. We also have those coaches that I talked about before. We also have fine arts coaches, and we're in the 4th year coming up of our MTSS and PBIS specialists. We're going district-wide to help building teams identify students who academically and behaviorally need to build some skills, and we're doing great work there. And so we have 2 FTE leading the way and helping to work and coach our building teams. There's a teacher pathway program, which is a semester program at each high school for students who might think, hey, is education for me? And they can get involved with that. And then we have professional development district-wide for specials teachers, PBIS for those behavior supports. We have an assessment writing plan coming up this year where teachers are learning how to write good assessments that will go into our Mastery Connect within our Canvas LMS. And professional development for instructional coaches and English learner teachers. And then again, equitable services for those private school students. In Title IV, you can consider that 3 buckets. The first bucket really is a safe and supportive and healthy school environment. And we really focus really hard on the middle school there. We have George McGovern, they have the Eagle Vision program, which is like a tier 3, where they're getting their instruction in a real small group to help keep them in school and to build those skills as they transition into regular classrooms. Joe Foss has a program counselor half-time, and then we have success coordinators at Whittier and McGovern as well. In the second bucket, we ensure a well-rounded education. We do 2 big things there. One, we have literacy TOSAs. It says SIPS reading invention coaches here, but let's change that to literacy TOSAs as they also service our UFly program, which is in kindergarten and 1st grade. And then for students who qualify for free or reduced lunch, we can fund their AP exams. And then finally, in Title IV, we have hired a technology integration coach to help teachers with Canvas as they create lessons and work through Mastery Connect. And again, equitable services for private schools. In summary, Title I Part A, again, builds those supplemental services for our schools of poverty. Title I Part D really focuses on the neglected and delinquent, those students who might be at risk. Title II is professional development, and Title IV with the 3 buckets, offering that safe, healthy, and supportive learning environment, well-rounded education, and enhance the use of technology. I stand by for questions and comments and ask you to acknowledge the Federal Consolidated Application Report for next school year.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I just want to say thank you just for everybody who's had their hands on this from the process to seeing it through. It's a lot of work, and the fact that you've been writing grants and doing this, I mean, it takes a lot, and as we know, the world is the way it is, and our kids need and deserve more support. So it's nice to hear all the interventions and ways that we're getting creative to get our kids back on track and being a whole person. So thank you.
Anybody else? All right. I agree. I think there's unfortunately a lot of need in our community with students of all ages, and I like seeing the kind of width of all of the places that we're able to help people out with their achievement and other supports. So definitely much needed funds for our school, our district. We obviously could always use more of those as well, but we do the best we can with the funding that we do get. So thank you very much for sharing that. Can I get an acknowledgement of the Federal Consolidated Application Report for the 24-25 school year, please?
Ooh. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That is acknowledged. Thank you.
May I have just a moment of privilege?
You may.
I would like to introduce Dr. Zeke's replacement since she's here tonight. Dr. Liz Herbold is with us. You want to give a little wave, Liz, so people can see who you are? Liz comes to us from being in charge of curriculum and assessment in the T area school district. She is a graduate, I think 4 times, is that right, from USD? Bachelor's, master's, specialist, and doctoral degrees, earned doctoral degrees. So we want to welcome you, and we're excited to get to know her. And next year, you'll get to stand up and do the consolidated report. Something to look forward to.
All right, yes, welcome. We are excited to have new faces and new roles. Our final report is a public hearing regarding the request for application waivers from administrative rules. Welcome.
Good evening.
Again.
Again, right. Yes, I am here before you this evening to ask for the board's permission to apply for rules or a waiver from administrative rules. These are all surrounding teacher certification. As a reminder, the State Department of Ed gives school districts the opportunity to have exceptions or alternate pathways to reaching teacher certification through this waiver process, so that's why I'm here tonight. I have 2 waivers that I am seeking. The first is to allow one of our AP physics teachers an opportunity for an additional year to complete her alternative certification. And then the second has to do with special education. As you know, there's a shortage of special education teachers in the nation and definitely here in Sioux Falls. So we are requesting a waiver to allow 3 individuals to seek alternative certification through the special education route.
Thank you. So at this point, I'll open up a public hearing, and if there's anybody that wants to ask questions or comments, they can do so at this time. Seeing none, I will close the open hearing, or the public hearing. Anybody have any questions or comments from the board?
One additional comment. I just want to thank Becky and her team again. Teacher certification is not easy these days, and alternative certification has always been available to us, but that's increased somewhat. Sometimes the timeliness of the decisions and the processes at the state level have been very challenging, and there is nobody more tenacious than Becky Dorman and her staff in getting those things done. Our kids are depending on the timing of those decisions being made because we need highly qualified teachers and we need to be able to make hiring decisions. And there's a big reason why we're in as good a shape as we are with our hiring processes this year, but it has been very challenging at times. So thank you, Becky, for sticking with that.
You're welcome. All right, can I get a motion and a second to approve the request for application waivers from administrative rules, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Those are approved. Thank you much. All right, anything else to come before the board?
Madam President.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to speak a little bit to the SIP. First, I'd like to thank the IPC staff, the building administrators, and the instructors that work so hard to put these plans together. They take a lot of academic research, they take a lot of time, and I appreciate everything that everybody did. Oops, like rookie mistake, turn on your mic. To recap, thank you, everybody, for putting together those SIPs. Second, as I read through them, I noted some academic concerns. Some schools are doing very well, and some schools need a little bit more of our support. And I would hope that as a board, that we would be getting reports maybe quarterly or whatever on the progress that our schools are making. Because I really would like to keep up on the progress that they're making on these strategies that they've worked so hard to put together. And I want to see how we're working on these areas of need. And if a plan needs to be tweaked, I hope that building principals would come to IPC staff, would come to us if they need some additional support and resources so that we can do that. I'd also like to reach out, I guess, to my retired colleagues. If you are a retired elementary teacher, if you're a retired reading teacher, math teacher, science teacher, and you have a free hour or two every week, I'm sure that our schools would appreciate you coming in and volunteering, and they would welcome you with open arms back in the classroom again to help our kids. We always say that a child has one chance at 4th grade. And we need to do everything we can to make sure that each one of our children grow and learn and have a great school year. And last, I guess I'd like to reach out to the parents, the adults in the homes. And so parents and guardians and adults, it's really important that we get our kids to school. We're running some very high absenteeism rates in some of these schools. We always used to say that we can't teach somebody who's not there, and it's true. So please make that effort. If a child misses 10, 11, 12 days of school in a quarter, by the time the school year's over, they've missed an entire quarter of the school year. And that really handicaps that child and puts that child in a grave disadvantage to learning and growing. We really need to have our kids in school. So whatever we can do as a community, as a district, as parents, as guardians, please get your kids in school. But I'd just like to close by saying I'm very proud of the work that this district does. I'm very proud to be back in the saddle with the Sioux Falls School District. And I commend everybody who's going to work hard putting these plans together, as our kids will be with us next month. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, President Ryder, for the time.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, anything else to come before the board? No? Okay, can I get a motion and a second for adjournment, please?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.